Yo guys, okay, let's get into a script writing lesson. Now, before we actually get into it, let me emphasize that 100% you should have done the groundwork by now. You should have done all of your research, have all of your context files, watched the previous script writing lesson to this as well, and make sure that you're coming into this with a really, really solid foundation. Now, you can see in Claude, you want to come in and create a project. Now, what I would recommend doing is when you're actually building out projects, build them around like specific core categories. So for example, for the Cypress rotundus oil, this here is predominantly focused on facial hair. Whereas if I wanted to go into a different angle, let's say around strawberry legs, like a huge big angle like that, I would also create a separate project and have that completely separate to this. And some of my research docs would be different as well, because my deep research would be around like women who struggle with strawberry legs, etc., etc. So that's going to make sure that you get clean outputs in all of your scripts. Now, this script writing method that we're going to be doing is easy, it's fast, and you get insane outputs if this is all in place. Now, I would say when it comes to us pushing out scripts at scale, this is one of the methods that we're using the most often and the most frequently, just because you're working with proven concepts that are already working within the market. And you'll see when we start to go through this, it is systemized, but once you have a good system in place, and I'm literally giving you that on a plate, it is so quick. Like before we really refined all of what I'm about to show you in regards to the prompts and how we do this, it took a lot longer. And also, if you're doing the creative strategy yourself, or you're probably going to put out a lot less concepts, because doing this just feels like more effort. Whereas this will make things pretty much as effortless as they can be. Now, besides having all of your context files, what you want to try and have is a swipe file. Now, a swipe file is pretty much just like a document, whether that be a Google Doc, whether that be a Notion dashboard, of just loads of different brands that are killing it in D2C. Now, they don't even have to be direct competitors. So let's say, for example, this product here around hair reduction, I don't have to just have similar products, similar competitors within my swipe file. I've got pretty much just like loads of D2C brands in there who are killing it. So start to get that in place, because when you're actually coming up with or looking to find concepts that you can essentially rip and recreate, so much easier if you just have the link to all of these different ad libraries. Just click in, what are they launching, what's crushing for them right now, boom, you're ready to go. Now, literally in Diamond, I honestly make my swipe file based off all of the Diamond products that I launch, because you can see I put literally the link to all of the ad libraries in here. Now, you want a blend in your swipe file. You want a blend of stores that have just recently launched and started to crush it, because then you know that, okay, like they've literally just launched 2, 3, 4 months ago. They're running 460 ads in Meta. You check their traffic and everything, they're at scale. What these guys are doing is working right now. But then you also want some other brands in there as well that are more established, higher traffic volumes, bigger scale, and keep an eye on their ads as well. So you want a good blend, but just get a good swipe file on the go. Now, this here is basically the workflow that I take when I find a concept that either is proven already or just one that I like. I think it would make a good ad for the product that I'm running. Now, people ask all the time, where do you do your research when it comes to concepts? It's very, very simple, and you do not need to overcomplicate it. Now, I would say the best places to look are obviously ad library. So if you have your swipe file, you're going to have all of the different ad libraries to all of the different brands that are crushing it right now. And ad library right now, so you can see we're looking at Ceranova Beauty, 650 active ads. Make sure that if you are looking into a brand, you're not just looking at their page, but you're typing in their full domain within Facebook search, because that's going to bring up all of the ads that they're running regardless of whether they're being ran off different pages, which you can see in this scenario, they're running off a bunch of different third-party pages, but you're able to see all of them. Now, you can see up here, sort by most recent or impressions. So if you sort by impressions, obviously the more budget that an ad has behind it, the higher impressions it's going to have. So this one here, this 2-minute and 20-second ad, this will be like pretty much one of their top spending ads that is still active right now. You can see that these are still active status. We're only looking at active ads at the minute. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can come and take this domain and you can come over to AdSpy. This is like one of the most OG spy tools in the game. This has been around for so long now. Now, ignore all of these filters, literally just filter this to URL, come in, add to filters. And you can sort by shares or you can sort by likes, etc. I usually sort by shares, just people are a lot less likely to bot shares than they are likes. And also if someone's actually sharing something with a friend, then usually, I mean, it's just a better ad. You know, shares are a lot less common than someone actually liking an ad. And then you can see you're able to actually see the engagement on their ads. Now, this won't show you all of their ads because these guys basically use a bunch of different scrapers. So they have loads of different scrapers that are crawling Facebook. So they'll probably only be able to have about 10, 20% of a brand's total ads on their platform. So you can still use this, but then use Ad Library as well. And when you're using AdSpy, obviously you want to be looking at what is the highest engagement ads, ones that have had a significant amount of engagement on. You can see that these guys have a fuck ton of engagement on a lot of different creatives. And of course, more engagement, more budget behind it. They've had bigger scale, more impressions. And then you can literally just come in, click here, and then you can download it. And you're going to have to download these videos, by the way. So that's how you do it on AdSpy. On Ad Library, you can use multiple different extensions. One that I've been using recently, I've not got it on this window, on this browser that I'm on right now, but it's called Brand Search. So like Brand Search. And they have a Chrome extension or a plugin where there'll be a download button that comes in the Ad Library, and you can download these creatives as well. Now, outside of Ad Library, AdSpy, you also have Atrea as well. Now, I use this a bunch, and on my actual main account that we use, we also create different boards, and I'll get into that in just a second. But on Atrea, you have this discovery section. You're going to see like a bunch of different ads here. But what's quite useful is if you want to look at like more in-depth analytics into a brand, you can come here and you can see. So if we look at Nor's Organics, you can see all of their ads. These are the most recent ones that they're launching, mixture of statics, video ads, etc. And then you can come in and you can use these filters. So if you just wanted to look at concept ideas for videos, then you can do that. And I think the biggest misconception that people have when they're actually recreating concepts that are already being ran by other brands is they should only or recreate concepts that are already proven to work based on engagement or impressions within Ad Library. But I can't tell you the amount of winners using this exact method that I've had, where I've been on Atrea and I'm looking at their recently launched ads, and it's just a case of me actually watching the ad and thinking, okay, like this is a good ad. When you've been in the game for a long time, and when you start doing this on a daily basis, you'll start to train your eye and be able to quickly recognize what's a good ad versus what's a bad ad. And also, if you're looking at established brands like Nor's Organics, you've got to think the quality of A players in their team, and they're already at very high scale. So their quality of ads and their win rate is going to be significantly higher versus if you're looking at stores that have just recently launched within the last couple of months. So don't just focus on ads that have high engagement, but also look at more established brands that still focus on more direct response principles, but also launch some of these as well. And it's fine to do because what I'm about to show you again is super quick to actually rewrite these scripts in a very efficient way. Now, the other place that I look for concepts is also on TikTok. So literally just taking my phone And I have a TikTok burner account for each of my brands. So the For You page is basically curated towards the avatars that are buying my products. So then I'm also looking at content organically as well. So what content is working well organically, and I'll just bookmark it, and then I'll also use that as inspiration to recreate as well. So I'd say they're the main things that I'm using to get concept ideas, and that's pretty much all you actually need. So that's how it works when you're actually coming to finding concepts. First of all, have a swipe file, and then use these different methods that we've just spoken about. Now, let's say you have a concept that you want to recreate, and actually we need to find one, because I decided that we're going to do Serenova, and I was looking at their top spending ones. So Serenova, I've put them into AdSpy, and I'm going to create an ad here that is more focused on a problem awareness level. I want to create one that's got a little bit more depth to it. I could pick an example where it's maybe like a solution aware or a product aware ad. It's only 30 seconds long, but I want to focus on one that is a little bit more of an in-depth direct response script. Let's see.
What's the fastest fix for marionette lines? Botox or hyaluronic fillers? Nope, they're way too expensive in the long run, and the results don't even last that long. What about anti-aging creams? Nope, by now everyone knows that these products don't work because they don't.
So because these ads are very similar to the type of ads that are working really, really well for me, we'll go ahead and recreate this for our Cyprus rotundus oil. Now, bear in mind that I don't have like a domain or everything like that, but I still have everything in my concept files, in my context files. So still should be able to execute on this perfectly. So let's go ahead, and as I said, I'm literally going to keep this as raw as I possibly can. So just gonna go for it. And this is pretty much you being a fly on the wall and watching how I would actually go ahead and actually write the script for this. So find the concept, come in and download it.
Or hyaluronic.
And then luckily for you guys, what I've done, as always, pretty much putting everything on a plate for you guys. And we have this whole workflow in prompts. Now, yeah, fuck me. These prompts are, let's just say they have been battle tested like to the highest level. Like I've been using these for a long time now. I've also refined them a lot as well. And for what we're about to do, they're absolutely dialed in 100%. So as I've said here, make sure to have the context files uploaded in your Claude project before starting this workflow. Now, first thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and actually get the transcript for this video. Now, if you're in Atreya, they actually have a built-in tool for this. So you can see here, transcribe scripts. You can go ahead and do that. But if you're downloading off Ad Library or AdSpy, then what you want to do is you want to come into Gemini. And the prompt is in the doc, but it's basically just saying, give me the full transcript for this video, and you can upload it. Now, reason that we're using Gemini is at the time of recording this, it's the only AI that can actually watch a video. So we use Gemini for this and let it do its thing. Right, okay, we've got our script now. Gemini just started freaking out for a second, but all good. And you can see with that prompt as well, we just want clean line breaks like this with also timestamps. So what you want to do is, let's just copy all of this. And then I'm just going to, for now, just paste that down here. So what we've done, find our winning concept or the concept that we want to recreate. In this case, it is a winning concept because we're doing one based off engagement. And the next thing that we want to do is move into Claude with prompt number 1. Now, as you can see, project all set up. And basically these prompts, to walk you through it, this is going to be the concept extraction. So this is us basically saying we're going to supply you a winning ad script. We want you to look through the ad script, identify why it's a winning ad, categorize it into, like a certain structure. And it's basically going to lock in all of the different parts of that concept. So it knows when it starts to rewrite the ad to follow the exact structure that is identified. Then we're going to give it the go ahead, confirm the concept, and then it's going to get the initial, or it's going to write the initial draft of our script. And then we're going to go into hook optimization, beat by beat optimization, and then our final optimization as well. But don't worry, all going to make sense. And we're going to go ahead and get our first prompt. And then come into Claude and then just go and just make sure that you're using the latest model as well. Right now I'm using Opus 4.6. And also these prompts as well are going to tell it to reference the project files as well, which is why obviously it's important to have them in place. So now it's basically going to ask you for the script. And then we're going to let Claude cook a little bit. And it's actually useful. Like I always actually start to read through this because I also want a really good understanding of the concept as well. So we won't read through all of it just for the sake of time. I don't want to make this hours and hours long, but you can see here just briefly, the ads entire engine runs on explaining why existing solutions failed, insufficient skin penetration, and then introducing a specific delivery mechanism, microinfusion, as the reason the solution works differently. The mechanism does the selling, story, and emotion are secondary to the educational reframe. Psychological engine, emotional entry point. The ad opens on frustrated curiosity mixed with resigned skepticism. The viewer has marionette lines, has likely tried or considered multiple solutions, and carries a background belief that nothing affordable really works. The hook meets her mid-internal debate. She's already mentally weighing options and finding them lacking. The emotional state is, I want this solved, but I don't trust the options. And then it's going to break down, trust me, I have engineered this, so it is just fucking goated. Then we have belief challenged, exit belief, curiosity mechanics. Just is literally going to give itself all of the context on what actually makes that a killer ad. So if I was you, go ahead and read all of this. I do it, but let's just move on to prompt number 2. So now it's going to say to you before it actually starts script writing, is this the concept that you want me to build the script for? Now we're going to move into prompt number 2. And we're basically going to say it that, or tell it that, yes, this is the concept that we want to lock in. And we're going to tell it to obviously mirror the structure. We have our rules in place, do this, don't do that. And then what we are essentially going to get out as an output is 3 different hooks. So 3 different hook variations with our main script body. So, and you can change this if you want, if you wanted 4 hooks, 5 hooks, but we always start with 3 and then put that in there as well. Now, the way that I like to explain this is if you think about, and you can kind of see here actually, it's searching the project files before it actually starts writing anything about the script. So now it's checking through all of the project files. Now, what I was going to say there was think of writing scripts with AI. Let's say, and this is the thing, I think when it comes to AI script writing, a lot of people are too reliant on the AI giving them really good outputs first time, whereas you need to be using AI smartly. Now, if you think of creating AI ads, let's say if you were creating an AI avatar ad, if you one take that ad, just one prompt, and you try and generate the full ad, you're going to get a really shitty output. It's not going to be a good output. And it's the same as getting an AI to write your script for you. This here, what we're seeing, won't be our final script. We want to get the initial draft, and you can see what I like to do is I like to break it down by beats. So you can see here we have beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, beat 5, essentially different sections of the ad. And then we're going to get our initial draft, and then the follow-up prompt will be the hook optimizations. We optimize these hooks. But then the next prompt after that is the beat optimization. So now we're going to be telling Claude at this point to take the existing winning script, beat number 2, against our draft script, beat number 2, and then compare both and then get it to analyze it, give it a rating out of 10. And that's a great tip to do. Always get your AI to like rate its outputs out of 10, and that'll really improve things. And then we're going to get it, if it needs to rewrite it as well. So, although we're using AI, there's still manual work that needs to go into this. So let's see what we've got. So I've pulled everything I need from your project files. Now writing the script. So hook 1, what's the fastest way to get rid of unwanted facial hair? Laser hair removal. What actually stops facial hair from growing back? Shaving every morning. What's the best solution for stubborn chin and upper lip hair? Expensive hair treatments. Now, before I actually get into this, I just want to remind myself, and again, like you're a fly in the wall now, so you're seeing this in real time, how I'm doing things. I just like to reference the winning ad again so I can see what the opening is like.
What's the fastest fix for marionette lines? Botox or hyaluronic fillers? Nope, they're way too expensive in the
Okay. So you can see it's made a slight mistake here because this here is the actual hook. And this is almost kind of like what starts to go into the lead. But it's fine. Let's go on to the hooked optimization prompt. So you can see we're always getting it to do a comparison versus the script that we're ripping from. And you can see here, if any hook is below a 10 out of 10, rewrite it and explain every change. Only change things if you truly think it will impact performance. Don't rewrite for the sake of it. Because I feel like if you don't say that, AI is always going to say, it will always try and adjust things and rewrite it for you. Okay, and you can see here, so we've got the winning ad hook, which is the benchmark. What's the fastest fix for marionette lines, Botox or hyaluronic fillers? 10 out of 10. Draft hook number 1. What's the fastest way to get rid of unwanted facial hair? Laser hair removal. Rating 6 out of 10. Fastest way to get rid of is 5 words. It's 5 words doing the job of that. Fastest fix 4. Dozen 3. The winning hook is punchy precisely because it's compressed. And then it's essentially telling us to do a rewrite of what's the fastest fix for stubborn facial hair. Yeah, so you can see that it's just straight away like it's much better because it's more compressed as opposed to this just having filler words in. Hook number 2, what actually stops facial hair from growing back? Shaving every morning, 5 out of 10. Rewrite is what's the fastest fix for facial hair that keeps coming back? Waxing or laser. So this is actually the most similar to the initial hook that we've got, which is up here, which is good. So you can see the initial hooks that is written, it's rating them so low, which is why this prompt is super important to do. What's the best solution for stubborn chin and upper lip hair? Expensive laser treatments versus what's the fastest way to deal with facial hair you're tired of removing? Like much, much better. Much better. So I will still, like for now, I'll put these in as placement hooks, but even at the end, once everything is together, then I'll still go back to the initial hooks and just like refine them again if I feel like they need to. But for now, we'll lock in these hooks. And then we're going to go into prompt 4. So prompt 4, as I said, this is when we're going to basically refine things beat by beat. So you can see just real quick. Now we need to refine the script body and make each beat a 10 out of 10 output. Use all of the project files to help you assess how optimal each beat is. We'll go through this beat by beat. For each beat, pull the beat from the winning ad and the corresponding beat from our draft script. Put them side by side, rate it, and explain what's working and what isn't. If it's below a 10 out of 10, rewrite it. Only change things if you truly think it will impact performance. Don't rewrite for the sake of it. One beat at a time, wait for my feedback before moving on. Once I confirm the beat is locked, ask ready for the next beat. And then we're going to get it to go straight into beat 2 because beat 1 is the hooks. So now we're moving on to the actual body of the script. And while it's going to be doing that, what I actually want to do is just like come back again and check over their script. Because not actually done this yet. So what's the fastest fix for marionette lines, Botox or hyaluronic fillers? Nope, they're way too expensive in the long run and the results don't even last that long. What about anti-aging creams? Nope. So this is like basically a solution aware ad. Nope, by now everyone knows that these products don't work because they don't penetrate the skin deeply enough. So what actually works? There's one simple thing any woman between 35 and 89 can do to quickly eliminate wrinkles and lines around the mouth, forehead, eyes, and even the neck. It only takes 5 minutes to do, can be easily done at home, and you'll see visible results right away. This is a special treatment called microinfusion. So you can see how they're not actually going into the product intro yet. They're actually going to be going into the mechanism. So 31 seconds, and then they're going into the mechanism introduction. It uses sterile, painless microneedles to infuse a powerful peptide serum packed with collagen peptides and hyaluronic acid deep into the skin. This process supercharges natural collagen production, rejuvenating the skin from inside out. Unlike products like retinol, anti-aging creams, or collagen powders, which barely penetrate the skin deep enough to make a noticeable difference, no effect. The big problem, so you can see how like they're really going deep into the mechanism, and also like they're still going into some agitation here as well. You know, talking about the big problem with microinfusion is that each treatment typically costs between 500 to 700. But the good news is that a US-based startup called Cerenova has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at just a fraction of the cost with their microinfusion system. So similar to the last script writing lesson that we were going through in the script that I was writing in that, you can see that they've actually not done a product intro until 1 minute into the ad. The Cerenova microinfusion system comes with a sterile single-use microneedles. All you need to do is gently stamp the device onto your skin once every 2 weeks, allowing the highly effective peptide serum to penetrate into the deepest layers of your skin and take care of the rest. There's no downtime, it's 100% painless, and it is incredibly easy to use. That's why it's recommended by hundreds of derms. And now you can achieve clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects or spreading a fortune. After just 5 minutes, most users experience an immediate glow and visible reduction in fine lines, but the real magic happens over the next few days as the peptides go to work triggering your skin's natural healing response. Because we are bypassing the skin's outer barrier, we're getting those nutrients exactly where they need to be. It's like giving your face a concentrated dose of youth. Thousands of women are ditching their expensive office visits for the Cerenova system. Why spend thousands a year when you can get the same clinical results for less than the price of a nice dinner? So it's a good ad. It's a really good solution aware ad. And of course, you know, it's performed really well for them. Only targeting the US as well. And I'm going to watch some of this ad from about the 30 seconds mark.
Peptides and hyaluronic acid deep into the skin. This process supercharges natural collagen production, rejuvenating the skin from the inside out. Unlike products like retinol, anti-aging creams, or collagen powders, which barely penetrate the skin deeply enough to make a noticeable difference. The big problem with microinfusion is that each treatment typically costs anywhere from $500 to $700. But the good news is,
so this is like an interesting concept, and I like how they've done this because it's mainly like a typical AI voiceover ad with B-roll, but then they've integrated this AI avatar into it as well. But it's not an AI avatar ad where it's, you know, the same person talking throughout the whole video with no B-roll. They've done a really good job here of mainly leading with B-roll that is relevant to the script, but then also having an authority figure throughout the video as well. So let's go back and see what we've got. So you can see straight away we're going to be making improvements here. So beat number 2, winning ad. Nope, they are way too expensive in the long run, and the results don't even last that long. Versus our draft, not even close. Laser costs over $1,000, takes months of sessions, and if your hair is hormonally driven, it often grows right back. It's rated at a 5 out of 10. What's working, not even close. And then it'll start to break you down. Again, like I do read through this, but for the sake of this video not being hours long, we're going to just look at what the rewrite is in comparison to this. So nope, laser costs over $1,000 for a full round of sessions. And for most women, the hair grows right back. Not even close, nope. So again, you can see how it always moves towards compression, which I like. And if you've watched the script writing video, the previous one, you know that you want to try and remove as many filler words as you possibly can. Direct structure mirror of the winning ad's dismissal word. Casual, fast, conversational, sounds like a friend, not a presenter. Removed, takes months of sessions as a standalone disqualifier. Folded it into the cost line instead, $1,000 for a full round of sessions. This keeps the specificity, but doesn't add a third beat. Now we're back to 2 disqualifiers, cost and imprisonment. Removed if your hair is hormonally driven. It often goes back. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is literally just say move to beat 3. Okay, perfect. So now we've got beat 3. And straight away, if we look at the comparison between winning ad and our draft, like ours is quite a bit longer than the original draft. And you want to try and keep it as similar as you possibly can. So winning ad is, what about anti-aging creams? Nope. By now, everyone knows that these products don't work because they penetrate the skin, because they don't penetrate the skin deeply enough. 6 seconds long, like really simple, to the point, versus our original draft, which was, what about shaving or waxing? Nope. By now, most women know these methods only cut or pull the hair. They do nothing about why your body keeps producing it in the first place. And then our rewrite here is, what about shaving or waxing? Nope. By now, everyone knows that these only remove the hair. They don't touch why your body keeps producing it. Like, again, much better, much more condensed, and pretty much doing the same thing. So we'll lock that in and then just move to beat 4. So beat 4, super simple, literally the same. Move to beat 5. And this is the thing, like most people honestly would just take that first output that Claude has had and maybe do a few manual adjustments to it, but get that initial draft and then you need to start dissecting it pretty much line by line, or in this case, beat by beat. So we've got winning ad. There is one simple thing any woman between 35 and 89 can do to quickly eliminate wrinkles and lines around the mouth, forehead, eyes, and even the neck. It only takes 5 minutes to do, can be done easily at home, and you'll see visible results right away. Versus there is one simple thing any woman dealing with unwanted hair on the chin, upper lip, jawline, or even the neck can do to visibly slow regrowth at the source. It takes 2 minutes a day, can be done easily at home, and most women start noticing softer, thinner hair within the first week. And you can kind of see like the initial difference there is they're getting very specific with the age range, whereas we've kept it a little bit more broad. And you can see it's actually flagged that, so it's rated this a 6 out of 10. And now we have, there is one simple thing any woman between 20 and 75 can do to dramatically reduce unwanted hair on the chin, upper lip, jawline, and even the neck. It only takes 2 minutes, can be easily done at home, and you'll notice a difference within the first week, like much better. So move to beat 6. Okay, so beat number 6, winning ad. This is a special treatment called microinfusion. It uses sterile, painless microneedling to infuse a powerful peptide serum packed with collagen peptides and hyaluronic acid deep into the skin. This process supercharges natural collagen production, rejuvenating the skin from the inside out. It's called an anti-androgenic follicle treatment. It uses a botanical extract called Cyperus rotundus that works at the follicle level to block the hormone signal that tells your body to keep producing thicker, darker hair. Instead of removing the hair, it interrupts the growth cycle itself. So each time hair grows back, it comes back finer, softer, and slower. Let's give it a 4 out of 10. I'm actually interested to see why. So we have what isn't working. Anti-androgenic follicle treatment is not a mechanism name, it's a clinical term. This is the biggest problem. Compare microinfusion, 2 words. Sounds like a category. Sounds like something a friend would say. It feels like a name the viewer can hold on to. Anti-androgenic follicle treatment is 5 words of medical jargon that the avatar would never repeat to a friend. The winning ad names a treatment category that sounds real, new, and accessible. Ours sounds like something from a medical textbook. The mechanism name needs to function as a mental anchor, something the viewer remembers and can Google, and that fails that test completely. Looking at the project files, the mechanism framework describes this as local anti-androgenic activity at the follicle level. That's a scientific explanation, not the consumer-facing name. The product page describes the process as the extract absorbing deep into the skin, reaching hair follicles at the root level. The psychology doc frames it as interrupting the signal. We need to translate the science into a named treatment concept that feels clean and memorable as microinfusion. A botanical extract called Cyperus introduces ingredient too early. So a botanical extract called Cyperus rotundus introduces the ingredient too early. The winning ads beat 6 names the treatment microinfusion and explains how the treatment works. The product brand, Serenova, doesn't appear until beat 9. Our draft collapses the ingredient reveal and mechanism explanation into the same breath. Cypress rotundus is ingredient level detail that belongs closer to the product reveal, are woven into beat 9, where Cyproglow is introduced. In beat 6, we should be selling the method, not the ingredient. The winning ad sells the microneedling infusion as a category, then later says a company called Serenova has made this accessible. We should sell the treatment approach as a category, then later say Cyproglow is a... So it all makes complete sense. Block the hormonal signal that tells your body to keep producing thicker, darker hair is too dense for one clause. Count the concepts packed into that line. Hormonal signal plus body producing hair plus thicker, darker. That's 4 ideas in one breath. The winning ad breaks its science into a clear chain. Microneedles infused serum packed with peptides and hyaluronic acid deep into the skin, supercharges collagen, rejuvenates from inside out. Each step leads logically to the next. Our draft tries to compress the entire androgen pathway into a single clause. The viewer needs a sequence she can follow, not a dense summary. So let's see what it's actually done. It's also said it runs too long. So our draft comes towards 20 to 22 seconds, whereas this is 18. So this is a method called follicular signal treatment. So you can see like a lot more basic. Instead of removing hair from the surface, it works at the follicle level, where hair growth actually starts. There's a hormonal signal that tells your follicles to keep producing thicker, darker hair. This method uses a natural plant compound to interrupt that signal directly at the root. So each time hair grows back, it comes in finer, softer, and slower. So you can kind of see, like, I've really not had to do any work there at all. But the output that we got going through this is so much better than the original output that we got from our first draft. So it just goes to show you how important this actually is. And again, you can see how when we went through the what isn't working, it's mentioned this a few times, but it's constantly actually referring to our project files. And this is the thing, it might seem like this is easy, but you've got to remember the amount of work that has went up until the point where you're actually writing these scripts. That's the hard work. It's actually doing the research and getting this all together. Then if you have the correct prompts in place, and these are all optimized to kind of take you through this step by step to get these level of outputs, it becomes so much easier. And this is how you're able to churn out these scripts at such high volume. Now, of course, this is still time consuming because I'm having to go through this beat by beat, but it's amazing how good AI can work if you're actually using it correctly. So let's do move to beat 7. Okay, so beat 7, competitive contrast and mechanism reinforcement. Winning ad, unlike products like retinol, anti-aging creams, or collagen powders, which barely penetrate the skin deeply enough to make a noticeable difference. No effect. Our draft, unlike shaving, which just cuts the hair, or waxing, which pulls it out, or laser, which damages the shaft. None of those touch the hormonal signal driving the growth. That's why the hair always comes back. So we have a 5 out of 10 rating. We already disqualified shaving, waxing, and laser in beats 2 and 3. This is the core problem. The winning ad introduces new competitors in beat 7, retinol, anti-aging creams, and collagen powders. These are different products from the ones killed in beats 2 to 3, Botox, fillers, and anti-aging creams. The winning ads, beat 2 kills professional treatments, beat 3 kills generic creams, beat 7 then expands the kill zone to other adjacent products the viewer might still be mentally holding onto as alternatives. Our draft re-kills the same solutions we already eliminated. Shaving and waxing died in beat 3, laser died in beat 2. Bringing them back here makes the ad feel repetitive. The viewer has already let go of these, now we're arguing with a decision she's already made. That wasted the beat. Beat 7's job in the blueprint is to retroactively explain why everything fails through the lens of the mechanism, just revealed in beat 6. Now that the viewer understands the hormonal signal concept, beat 7 should use that new understanding to sweep away any remaining solutions she might be clinging onto. It should feel like the mechanism education just give her X-ray vision to see through every other option. 2 sentences where the winning ad uses one. Let's see what it's actually rewritten. Unlike hair removal creams, home devices, or even prescription options, none of these interrupt the signal at the follicle level. No effect on the actual growth. Now, I still am not a huge fan of that because to me, it's still a little bit generic. Now, I know that the winning ad, they've kept it relatively generic as well, but it's a little bit more specific. You know, they've mentioned retinol, they've mentioned collagen powders, whereas I would like to mention actual specific hair removal creams here, which instead of saying like hair removal creams, I believe there's one from my research that I found, which is called Visceral or something. Let's see. Visceral product. Okay, it's not that, but what I would then do is or let's actually come in here and say, so we'll just say, this is too generic, reference the project files and use more specific solutions that the market has tried before. And let's see what our output is here. Okay, this is it here. So it's a little bit too long, this, but you can see how it is. This is one that I was looking for, Vanica. This is like a really popular product that people are prescribed. And they are at-home IPL devices or even prescription creams like Vanica. None of those interrupt the signal at the top. So this is much better. And then I would say rate this one out of 10. What I just want to check is this a brand? Is Nair a brand? Okay, so unlike hair removal creams, at-home IPL devices, so I'm going to probably go something like this. Unlike hair removal creams is still too generic, we want to be a little bit more specific without actually mentioning a specific brand name. Okay, so I think this is going to be better. Unlike chemical removal creams, at-home IPL devices, or even prescription creams, like Vanicua. None of those interrupt the signal of the follicle. This is what I'm thinking is the best for this beat. Rate this out of 10 and let me know your thoughts. So you can see how you don't always have to follow these prompts like step by step. You can still intercept and make some adjustments if you don't like anything. Now, I do this a lot more when I'm writing the scripts for my brands because the research is already in my head. Like the more that you write scripts around a specific brand or product, like the better you'd be able to make these refinements. Because I actually obviously don't run this product or brand, I'm doing it a little bit less here, but this would be an example of kind of how I am doing it. So you can see here, rated 10 out of 10. This is the best version. Nair's a consumer. So this is kind of like my thought process behind this, by the way. Nair's a consumer brand competing in the same retail space. Naming it in a paid ad can claim like it feels like a direct attack on the competitor and risks platform issues. Vanica is a prescription medication. It's not a competing product on a shelf. So that's pretty much why I actually went through that process. You don't want to be actually calling out other competing brands' names within your ads. It's just a little bit risky and a grey area. So let's lock that in and move to the next beat. So yes, ready for the next beats. So it's starting to come together now. How many beats do we have? We have... Yep, so we've got 14 beats here. So this is the thing, it can take time, especially if you're making a slightly longer ad. This one's about 2.5 minutes long. Price barrier introduction. So winning ad. The big problem with micro infusion is that each treatment typically costs anywhere from 500 to 700. Again, you notice the pattern here. They're pretty compressed and to the point. Not a lot of filler words in there as well. Our draft. The problem is that prescription options that target hair growth at this level typically cost over $150 a tube, and laser runs over $1,000 for a full course of sessions. What isn't working? The beat price is the old solutions, not the new mechanism. This is the fundamental structure misfile. Look at the winning ad. Look what the winning ad does. It prices microinfusion, the mechanism just introduced in beat number 6. Not fillers, not creams, the thing the viewer just got excited about. The big problem with microinfusion is that each treatment typically costs 500 to 700. The viewer has just been sold on a new method. She's leaning in and then she's told she can't afford it. That's what creates the micro despair moment that makes product number 9. So obviously, to give you guys some context, this product here, so they've kind of released the mechanism, which is microinfusion, but then to get this done at an actual clinic, they're saying it's costing $500 to $700. But obviously, they're going to get later into the ad, as we know, they're going to say there's a more affordable at-home version. It's going to cost you a fraction of the price, etc., etc. So it's saying that. And then number 2, it's saying 2 price points where the winning ad uses. The winning ad gives a single price range of $500 to $700 for one thing. Clean, one number to absorb. Our draft gives 2 separate price points for 2 different things, prescription and laser. That's the 2 ideas competing for attention in a 6-second window. It makes beat 8 feel like a continuation of the elimination sequence rather than a new structural turn. So rewrite. The problem with follicular signal treatment is that it's typically only available through specialists, and a single course of professional treatment can cost anywhere from $500 to over $1,000. So much better, and you can see it's just modeled this winning ad pretty much perfectly. The problem with follicular is that typically only available through specialists, and a single course of professional treatment can cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000. The big problem is that each treatment typically costs anywhere. That's only available through specialists and a single course. I still think this is a little bit, it could do with some refinements. I still don't think that your output is a 10 out of 10. For example, they start their beat with the big problem and put more emphasis on that versus yours, which says the problem. And then yours is dragged out a little bit more by referencing that as only available through specialists versus they don't include that within their ad. Now, I actually think I would maybe include this because, again, it's another... I actually would probably keep this in because now you're giving them 2 points of elimination. First of all, like, it's not widely available. And then you've obviously then got the other elimination, which is the price. But let's see what this will do. See, I think this is just cleaner, to the point, and just models the original version a lot better. So let's lock that in. Okay, so product reveal and affordability bridge. Winning ad, but the good news is that a US-based startup called Serenova has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at just a fraction of the cost with their microinfusion system. Our draft, but a company called Cyperglow. I was obviously referencing Cyperglow because I've uploaded their PDP into my project files. has made this kind of treatment available to everyone for around $40 a month with their Cyperus rotundus skin serum. It's the only Egyptian botanical serum that's been clinically studied for its hair growth inhibiting properties. Just a fucking bit. It's just like fucking full of jargon, to be honest with you. I don't like that at all. The second sentence doesn't belong in this beat. It's the only Egyptian botanical serum that's been clinically studied for its hair growth inhibiting properties. Is a credibility/proof claim. The winning ads beat 9 does one job: reveal the product and the affordability access point to the mechanism. That's it. No proof, no clinical claims, no USP stacking. The proof comes later in beat 11 and 12. Cramming a clinical claim into the rescue moment dilutes the emotional relief. Missing good news framing. The winning ad opens with, but the good news is. This is a deliberate emotional pivot marker. It signals to the viewer that the tension from beat 8 is about to be resolved. It's a small but important structural cue. Our draft jumps straight to but a company called, which lands the information but misses the emotional translation. Fucking key. Really good that I picked up on this. Missing the original credibility tag, but the winning ad says a US-based startup. That's not a throwaway detail. US-based is a trust signal. It tells the viewer this isn't a random overseas dropshipper. Our draft has no equivalent. Cyberglow's actual origin story and positioning could serve this role. This kind of treatment is vague. The winning ad says this treatment's direct, confident, and referring back to the microinfusion, this kind of treatment, okay, for around $40 a month, introduces a recurring cost frame. Pretty important. The winning ad says at just a fraction of the cost, no specific number, and critically, no per month. It frames the savings against the $500 to $700 professional price. That relative framing feels like a steal. Our draft introduces $40 a month, which is an absolute number the viewer evaluates on its own. $40 a month can trigger a mental subscription calculation, which is the exact opposite of what this beat needs to do. So that's, again, like super important. Like you can really start to see the importance of just getting the AI to hone in on just like a sentence versus the original sentence. Like if you give it a lot less to focus on, your outputs are going to be so much better. You can start to see now how off that original script was. And a lot of people would probably read that initial output that we got and think it was good. So rewrite, but the good news is that a company called Cyberglow has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their Cyprus rotundus skin serum. Now, the thing here is that Claude isn't going to reference that it's a US-based company because it doesn't have any information that it's a US-based company. So I'm just now going to say our company Cyberglow is also a US-based company. So rewrite this beat to reference that, as the winning script did as well. But the good news is that a US-based company called Cyberglow has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their Cyprus rotundus skin serum. Okay, what I'm thinking here is they've kind of went into the product reveal here as well. Is this the best way to position the end of this beat? Should we be going into the product in this beat, which you've now done? Because my thought process is, now their product is called microinfusion system, but they have said here, at a fraction of the cost with their microinfusion system, but their like initial mechanism that they've introduced that you can also get in clinics is called microinfusion system. So it'll be interesting to see what Claude says, but should we say, I'm thinking we should be saying we've made this treatment accessible to everyone with something like with their own follicle, whatever they call the mechanism, with their own follicular signal treatment. I would actually change this to just follicule, because because it's a bit of a tongue twister, this one. But let's see what it said. Good catch. Let me take at what the winning ad actually does here. With their microinfusion system works because the product name is the mechanism name. So that's exactly what my thought process was. The viewer already knows what microinfusion is from beat 6, so the product reveal doesn't introduce anything new. It just tells her that the mechanism she already bought now comes in exactly. So that's exactly what I just ran through. Cypress rotundus skin serum does the opposite. It introduces a Latin botanical name the viewer has never heard of before, and a beat that should become completing the emotional rescue. So you're almost like completing that loop by, going back to what the mechanism is actually called. But anyway, let's just cut to the chase. But the good news is that a US-based company called Cyproglow has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with a simple at-home serum. So now I'm going to say something like... But the good news is that a US-based company called Cyproglow has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their own... But the good news is that this US-based company, Cyproglow, has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their clinically backed let's see what it says. With their own. So I think I would change that to with their own clinically backed. This is stronger than my version. Clinically backed, yeah. The full beat now reads, but this good news. Cyproglow has made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their clinically backed. Yes, that's perfect. Much, much better. Much better. Let's lock this in and then move to the next beat. It just shows you, like just running through that there, that you can't have too much of a reliance with AI. You need to be dialed in. You need to be doing these manual adjustments as you're going through. So usage, simplicity, and routine integration. So the Serenova microinfusion system comes with it. So this is kind of like where you're going to have to start stepping in a little bit more, because sometimes when you are essentially reverse engineering a concept, that concept, you need to kind of like adapt and change things to be more fitting for your product. Now, because of the way that this has happened, and because these guys, the kind of like mechanism is the same name as their product, they don't really need to have a bridge between the mechanism and product, because the mechanism is their product, if that makes sense. Whereas if we go and look at this, and I'll just tell you my thought process here. So winning ad, the Serenova microinfusion system comes with sterile single-use microneedles. All you need to do is gently stamp the device onto your skin once every 2 weeks, allowing the highly effective peptide serum to penetrate into the deepest layers of your skin and take care of the rest. There's no downtime, it is 100% painless, and is incredibly easy to use. Now, they're obviously going now straight into the product, but if you think of where our script is up until now, we're not ready to get into the product introduction yet. There needs to be a bridge point here. So our draft, all you need to do is apply 3 to 5 drops. But because I've now changed the last beat away from what was the product intro to now just referencing what the mechanism was to close that original loop, I now need to focus on product intro. So you can see here the Cyproglow serum. So now what I'm essentially going to say is we need a full rewrite of this beat, and we need to adapt. We're not ready to go into the product intro yet. You've started your rewrite with the Cyproglow serum uses a natural plant compound called Cypress rotundus. But there needs to be a bridge between our last beat and our product that's going to tee up our product introduction. So you can see beat 9 just told the viewers Cyproglow has made blah, 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 but we haven't told her what she's actually getting or how Cyberglow delivers this treatment. If I jump straight into apply for a few drops, she's thinking a few drops of what? Why is this version different from the generic oils on Amazon, and did nothing? This is exactly where the support mechanism from the project files earns its place. The mechanism engineering doc makes clear, and again, like that's from the mechanism lessons that we've done in module 3, makes clear this market operates at level 4 sophistication. The viewer doesn't just need to believe the category works. Beat 6 handled that. She needs to believe this specific version works when generics failed. The bridge between Cyberglow has made this accessible, and here's how you use it is the delivery difference. Rewrite. The Cyberglow serum contains a concentrated dose of... So the thing is... The Cyberglow serum contains a concentrated dose of Cyperus rotundus, an ancient Egyptian botanical extract that's been clinically tested head-to-head against laser for hair reduction. But here's what makes this version different from anything else in the market. Most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Cyberglow uses a jojoba-based carrier that mimics your skin's natural oil, so the active compounds straight away, like we need to condense this a little bit. And also they're going like straight into... It's a serum, but we've not really told them that yet. I massage it in the morning and evening. So let me just remind myself what beat 6 was. The previous beat ended with and your rewrite of the next beat starts with there is a disconnect here, and we need to ensure that the previous beat and the start of this beat flow seamlessly, and there is a clear bridge between the two. So you can see here, going straight from everyone at a fraction of the cost with their clinically backed follicular signal treatment, and then straight into the Cyberglow serum. So let's see what it says. You're right. Look at how the winning ad handles this exact transition. Beat 9 ends with their microinfusion system. Beat 10 opens the Cerenova microinfusion system comes with. It picks up the exact same term and continues. The product name at the end of beat 9 becomes the subject of beat 10. No gap, no reset. One flows directly into the other like a single thought. Ours should do the same. Their follicular single treatment uses a concentrated dose, so much better. So again, like you're referencing the mechanism that we've just finished with on the previous beat. So it flows. There's no disconnect there. So I hope you guys can see that. And it's like super important to make sure that everything flows seamlessly and you don't have any disconnects. That's if you want the best fucking hold rates, by the way. It needs to just be so seamless. Their follicular signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cyperus rotundus, an ancient Egyptian botanical extract that's been clinically tested head-to-head. So now we're going to essentially, because this has pretty much been rewritten, now we're going to put this in, rate this out of 10, give me honest feedback on it, and if anything needs to be rewritten, then let me know, but don't just rewrite it for the sake of it. If you analyze this and you're happy with it, then we can move on to the next section. It's pretty good because now obviously it's going to go into... So this script that we're building here, it basically has like 2 mechanisms into it, because as I've said in previous videos around this product, this actually is like, let's say like a level 3 mechanism, which does work. But now if we have like also a higher level of sophistication who's watching this ad, now instead of them just like rejecting this, we're then going to, or maybe they've heard of it before, we're then going to go into a level 4 mechanism, which is our ingredient difference, using jojoba oil as our carrier oil to help the serum get to where it actually needs to be, which is the follicle bulb. Rating 9 out of 10, so it's pretty happy with it. The one thing giving me a pause, an ancient Egyptian botanical extract that's been clinically tested head-to-head against laser hair for hair reduction, is doing a lot in one clause. It's stacking 2 credible frames simultaneously, and a clinically proof test is against them. The winning as beat 10 doesn't carry any proof chain, this is beat 11. I don't think this warrants a rewrite. The reason is market specific. In the anti-aging market, the viewer doesn't need to be convinced the category is real before hearing the usage instructions. In this market, she does. Clinically tested head-to-head against laser is the single strongest credibility line in the entire project file research. So again, you can see how it's referencing our project files because there was research in there that there was testing done with using laser hair removal and Cypress rotundus. And placing it here earns the right to move into the usage instructions without the viewer minute. The beat runs longer than the winning ad, 25 seconds versus 15 seconds, but that's a necessary cost of operating in a level 4 sophistication market where the support mechanism bridge has to exist. So I'm just going to read over this one more time. The follicle signal treatment uses a concentration dose of Cypress rotundus, an ancient Egyptian botanical extract. I think I want to condense this down a little bit. An ancient Egyptian. Yeah, so I would personally just remove, and this is the good thing to do. And I mentioned this in my other script writing video, to just read things out loud and see how they come off the tongue. But this just sounds like a little bit too much. An ancient Egyptian botanical extract. I would just go saying their follicular signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cypress rotundus, a botanical extract that's being clinically tested head to head. But here's what makes Cyberglow different. So let me just see. Okay, perfect. But here's what makes Cyberglow different from anything else on the market. Most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Cyberglow uses a jujaba-based carrier that mimics your skin's natural oil. So the active compounds are actually transported down into the follicle where the growth signal lives. All you do is apply. So bear with me here. But here's what makes Cyberglow different from anything. Most oils with the ingredient just sit on top of your skin. This is good, but I think we need just one supporting sentence on why this is. Perfect. So one thing that you kind of want to stay away from, and you don't have to do this in all of your ads, but it is good, especially for these longer ads. You've got to remember that this is almost like a mini VSL. A mini VSL that is heavily targeted towards solution aware. So if you're dealing with a solution aware audience, you can't just make like claims or statements without actually backing them up, which this was the issue in this sentence here. And the reason why that this was a little bit weak is because the size of the output is quite a lot. Whereas if you look at all of the other beats, we're really just focusing on a few sentences at a time. So it basically put in a statement, most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Cyberglow uses a jujaba-based carrier that mimics it. So it's not actually really telling them why. You know, it's going straight into like the carrier oil that we use, but this could just be beefed up a bit more, which is why I flagged it here. And it says, you're right, this claim needs a reason, or it's just an assertion. The mechanism engineering doc gives us the exact answer. The current line, most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. With the supporting sentence, most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Without the right carrier oil, the active compounds evaporate on the surface before they can get to where they need to go. Like way more powerful, way better. And then that's going to create, again, like no disconnect and a perfect flow into what is like our kind of main mechanism, which is having the jojoba oil as our carrier oil. So let's lock in this. So now rewrite me this section. So that's good, but now I just need to remove this. Okay, one more time. again, like you're a fly in the wall. This is how I'm doing it. Their follicle signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cyperus rotundus, a botanical extract that's been clinically tested head-to-head against laser for hair reduction. But here's what makes Cyperglow different from anything else in the market. Most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Without the right carrier oil, the active compounds evaporate on the surface before they can get to where they need to go. Cyperglow uses a jojoba-based carrier that mimics your skin's natural oil. So the active compounds are actually transported down into the follicle where the growth signal lives. And then it kind of goes into instructions. But here's what makes, so one thing as well. Now, I think it's still a bit lacking. So it's been clinically tested head-to-head against laser for hair reduction. Okay, that's great, but what was the outcome? Let's focus on this sentence here. When you say it's been tested head-to-head against laser for hair reduction, that's great, but then you give no outcome. So this isn't a very good statement to have. Give the outcome. You're right. A claim without an outcome is a half sentence. The mechanism engineering doc gives us the result. The 2004 study from Cyperus rotundus showed comparable efficiency, blah, blah, blah. Rewrite a botanical that was tested as hair reduction and match this result. Yeah, so it's basically saying I just matched its results. I think just having matched its results is weak. So what do you suggest that we do here? Should we just remove this out of this section? I mean, obviously you could manufacture this as well. Like you could manufacture the outcome of this test. Okay, perfect. It's not really needed. So you can see here, a natural botanical that targets hair growth directly at the follicle. But here's what makes Cyperglow different from anything else in the market. Right. You can see I've spent a long time on this section, but it's because it's almost like the most important part of the script because it's basically going deep into our mechanism. Okay, now write me this full completed section and I will review it. The follicle signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cyperus rotundus, a natural botanical that targets hair growth directly at the follicle. But here's what makes Cyperglow different from anything else on the market. Most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Without the right carrier oil, the active compounds evaporate on the surface before they can get to where they need to go. Cyperglow uses a jojoba-based carrier that mimics your skin's natural oil. So the active compounds are actually transported down into the follicle where their growth signal lives. I would then write one more supporting sentence at the end of this to complete this section before we go into the usage. We've said that it's transported down into the follicle where the growth signal lives, but then what happens? And the reason that I'm doing that is because obviously the whole point is that it kills off that signal so that it stops hair growth or it slows down hair growth. And again, I want to be kind of like talking back into that customer's or viewer's desired outcome. So it's going to do a much better job of that. So they're obviously subconsciously going to be looking at this and reading this and watching this thinking, okay, wow, like again, this is what I need. You always want to be speaking back to their desired outcome. Once there, it gets to work interrupting the signal that tells the follicles to keep producing thicker, darker hair. So exactly, you see what I mean there. Right. So the active compounds are actually transported down into the follicle where the growth signals live. Once there, it goes to work interrupting the signal that tells your follicles. So that's fine. I would just add one word here, where is it? Once there, it gets to work interrupting that nasty signal. Perfect. 10 out of 10. It takes a clinical concept that makes the viewer feel something about it. Up until this point, this signal has been introduced. Yeah, that nasty signal gives the viewer permission to see it as the enemy. The thing that's been making her life miserable this whole time is the first emotional word attached to the mechanism, and it lands here because the viewer now understands what the signal is, what it does, and why nothing she's tried could reach it. She's earned the right to hate it. It also keeps the tone human. A clinical script would never say nasty. A friend explaining this to you over coffee, that one word pulls the entire paragraph back from the edge of sounding too educational and keeps it grounded in real speech. The full sentence flows as a complete persuasion chain, what the ingredient is, why generics fail, why they fail specifically, why Cypress Glow's version works, what happens when it reaches the target, emotional payoff, every sentence sets up the next, nothing waste. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, that's taken me probably about 20 minutes just on that one section. And sometimes you just have to do that. You know, you need to make a lot of manual adjustments onto specific sections. And as you saw there, I've had to kind of make kind of like quite a big sidetrack versus the initial concept, just the way that they had everything laid up with their title and like the mechanism that they're pushing as well. But I mean, I'm kind of glad that it happened because, yeah, obviously I'm kind of doing this completely raw. So you've kind of seen how I would do actually work my way through a situation like that. And actually, I think we've definitely ended up with a better script up until this point. Like this is some really, really good stuff. So let's lock this in now and move to the next beat. Okay, so now obviously I removed the usage instructions of the last beat, so now we're just reverting back to them now. So beat 10b, usage, we locked in the support mechanism bridge, but beat 10 in the blueprint also contained the usage instructions and friction removal. The winning ad handles both product specifics and usage in one beat, so this is the second half. Winning ad, all you need to do is gently stamp the device onto your skin once every 2 weeks, allowing the highly effective peptide serum to penetrate into the deepest layers of your skin and take care of the rest. There's no downtime. It is 100% painless and is incredibly easy to use. Our draft, highest rating yet. All you do is apply a few drops. Like the thing is, when you're dealing with like the more complex parts of the script, that's when usually the first output isn't so good. But this is a little bit more just like straightforward. But let's see what his rewrite is. So this is the original one. All you do is apply a few drops and massage it in after your normal hair removal, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. There's no pain, no irritation, and it's incredibly simple to use. All you do is mirrors. All you need to do is the serum does the rest. Mirrors take care of the rest. Basically, it's going to compress it. All you do is apply a few drops to clean skin and massage it in, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. There's no pain, no irritation, and incredibly simple to use. All you do is apply a few drops and massage it in after your normal hair removal, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. There's no pain. All you do is apply a few drops to clean skin and massage it in, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. There's no pain, no irritation, and is incredibly easy to use. It's 100% painless. I think this is good to include because people obviously associate hair removal with pain. This is good to include in our rewrite, as people usually associate hair removal with pain. So here's our rewrite. All you do is apply a few drops to clean skin and massage it in, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. It's 100% painless, causes no irritation, and is incredibly easy to use. Okay, perfect. Let's lock that in and move to the next beat. We're getting there. This is looking very good. So beat 11, 40, winning ad. That's why it's recommended by hundreds of dermatologists. Our draft, That's why it's trusted by dermatologists and recommended by healthcare professionals to their own patients. Rating 6 out of 10. Rewrite. That's why it's recommended by dermatologists as the natural alternative to expensive laser treatments. Let's see what it said here. 2 authority sources where the winning ad uses 1. So I don't like this because that's assuming that everyone who is like watching the ad has tried laser, which they probably haven't. So let's just change that out. I don't like the rewrite where its focus is on just laser treatments. That's assuming that everyone who's watching the ads has used laser or has considered laser as a solution when that might not be the case. And also, by the way, when I'm doing like all of this speaking prompting, it's using something called Whisper Flow, which is an app that you can get on your MacBook. Good catch. The winning ad doesn't position the endorsement against any specific solution either. It's just a clean authority stamp. So our rewrite is that's why it's recommended by dermatologists to their patients as a safe, effective alternative to traditional hair removal. Actually, I'm overcomplicating that. That's why it's recommended by... Okay, so basically it just wants this. That's why it's recommended by hundreds of dermatologists. That's why it's recommended. Yeah, we should literally just model the winning ad here. Lock it in and move to the next beat. Okay, results timeline. Very important part of the script. And now you can achieve clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects or spending a fortune. After just 5 minutes, most users experience an immediate glow and visible reduction in fine lines, but the real magic happens over the next few days as the peptides go to work. And now you can get clinical level results from your own bathroom. I don't like that. Someone could be using it on their bed. Within the first week, most women notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly. By 2 weeks, the hair starts growing back visibly thinner, but the real shift happens over the first month as the Cypress rotundus extract keeps working at the follicle level. Previously thick, coarse hair starts coming back fine and barely noticeable because we're targeting the hormonal signal. Okay, so what I would prefer to do here is include more of the avatar language and behaviors into this. So let's see what the rewrite has done. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home. So it's removed bathroom, which is good, without any risk of side effects or spending a fortune. Within the first week, most women notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly, but the real shift happens over the coming weeks as the extract keeps working at the follicle level. Previously thick, coarse hair starts coming back, finer, lighter, and barely noticeable because we're actually reaching the follicle instead of treating the surface. You're not removing the hair, you're slowly turning it off. It's like finally having a way to tell your body to stop producing it. Now, where does this script end up going? So, okay, here, we're here right now. Just fine. But the real magic happens because we are bypassing the skimper. It's like giving you thousands of, okay. So you can also, like, you don't have to model this exactly. You can also use your script writing knowledge and make improvements as well. This section is good, but what I want you to now do is reference all of the project files, and we want to pull out some of the emotions and typical behaviors of our avatar who is struggling and include these references in the timelines. For example, by week 4, you no longer have to. There's a reason we do this research, guys. Use it. Connect with them. Trigger those emotions. This is going to trigger relief. Obviously, we know what this avatar is feeling right now. Now they're getting towards the end of the ads. We're getting towards the end where we want to get that click and for them to go ahead and buy the product. So now we really need, we've worked on a bit of relief, but now it's like almost like visualizing, you know, where they could be if they're gonna go ahead and use this product. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects or spending a fortune. Within the first week, most women notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly to touch, but the real shift happens over the coming weeks. By week 2 or 3, I don't like this, we'll be a bit more specific. Let's just say by week 2, you start spacing out your plucking sessions because there's simply less to remove. No more setting your alarm early just to tweeze before anyone wakes up. No more checking your chin on the front camera 10 times a day. By month 1, previously thick coarse hair starts coming back so fine it's barely noticeable. You stop avoiding sunlight. You stop turning your face away when someone gets close because we're actually reaching the follicle instead of just treating the surface. You're not removing hair. You're slowly turning it off. Like, much better. Let's just tighten it a little bit. Okay, now I want you to rate this output out of 10. I think that we could tighten this a little bit. Also, replace by week 2 or 3 with by week 2, so we're more specific here. And then also, when you're saying no more setting your alarm early just to tweeze before anyone wakes up, no more checking your chin on the front camera 10 times a day, I want you to include a third point as well, which also starts with no more. So like, I love stacking things up like that. And I like it, like starting it with the same sentence or the same words, no more. Second one, no more. Third one, no more. And once you start to get like a lot of winning ads, like a lot of what I'm pulling up here, especially the stacking, what I've just mentioned there, that's just off learnings of winning ads that I've got. It works well. Rating 8 out of 10, 2 issues, keeping it from a 10. First, it runs long. Yep, and these condensed, as I said. So let's just go to the rewrite. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects or spending a fortune. Within the first week, most women notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly to touch, but the real shift happens over the coming weeks. By week 2, you start spacing out your plucking sessions because there's simply less to remove. I mean, no shit. We'll adjust that. No more setting your alarm early just to tweeze before anyone wakes up. No more checking your chin on the front camera 10 times a day. No more carrying tweezers in every bag you own. By month 1, previously thick coarse hair starts coming back so fine that's barely noticeable. You stop avoiding sunlight. You stop turning. This still needs to be tightened. I also want you to go and reference all of the project files, specifically the files around research, and make sure that you have picked the most spoken about emotions and behaviors. Because again, because I've done the research on this, one thing that I think is maybe missing here is that the intimacy. Yeah, the whole issue with their partners, etc. But let's go and see what this comes back with. Morning plucking, shaving, ritual between the partner wakes up, flinching or pulling away when someone touches their face, avoiding sunlight, dreading bright light. Okay, perfect. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects of spending a fortune. Within the first week, most women notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly, but the real shift happens over the coming weeks. By week 2, you start spacing out your plucking sessions. Right, let's just rewrite this ourselves now. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risks of side effects or spending a fortune. Within the first week, women notice the regrowth. Within the first week, Within the first week, you will notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly. I don't like this, but the real shift happens. But the real magic happens over the coming weeks. By week 2, you start spacing out your plucking sessions. That's not needed. No more setting your alarm early just to tweeze before anyone wakes up. No more carrying tweezers in every bag you own. No more dreading bright lighting because you're scared someone will notice. Where's my stuff gone? And by month 1, previously thick, coarse hair starts coming back so fine. It's not even noticeable. For the first time, you stop flinching when someone gets close to your face. You're not removing hair anymore. You're slowly turning it off for good. Analyze this and let me know your thoughts. 3 changes you made that elevated this beyond my version. Most women notice, you will notice. My version hedged, yours commits. The winning ad says most users experience, but your version is actually stronger. You will is a direct promise to the viewer. In a market where every product has disappointed, blah, blah, blah. The real shift, the real magic. This mirrors the winning ad's exact language, but the real magic happens. I changed it earlier to shift, thinking it sounded more... Okay, so I didn't even realize that the original one said magic. Okay, yeah, it did. It's barely noticeable. It's not even noticeable. Subtle but important. Barely as a hedge. For good. At the end, it's 2 words doing serious work. My version ended on turning it off, which describes a process. Yours ended on turning it off for good, which describes a permanent outcome. Perfect. Let's lock this in and move on to the next beat. Okay, we've got 2 more beats to go. Beat 13, social proof and price reframe. Thousands of women are already ditching their expensive office visits for the Cera Nova serum. Why spend thousands a year when you can get the same clinical results for less than the price of a nice dinner? Over 50,000 women have already made the switch. Why keep spending hundreds on laser sessions, razors, and waxing appointments when you can target the root cause for less than the cost of one salon visit? Have already made the switch. It's generic. Laser sessions, removals, and waxing appointments relists solutions we killed in beats 2 to 3. Target the root cause is mechanism language in a social proof beat. Less than the cost of one salon visit is the wrong anchor. Not every woman in this audience goes to salons. Many shave at home, pluck at home, or have given up on professional treatments entirely. So let's see what is rewritten. Over 50,000 women have already ditched their plucking routine for Cyberglow. Why keep spending hundreds a year on methods that only remove the hair when you can finally slow it down for less than the price of a nice dinner? Over 50,000 women have ditched their daily plucking routine for Cyberglow. Why keep spending hundreds a year on methods that only remove the hair when you can finally slow it down? When you can finally slow it down for less than the price of the nice dinner. This is good, but it needs improved. I think instead of saying when you can finally slow it down, I would reference more to how we ended the previous beat, where we ended for good, and improve this section. Still sounds a bit soft. Like we're in direct response. Like we want someone going and buying this right after watching this ad. Over 50,000 women have already ditched their dirty plucking routine for Cyberglow. Why keep spending hundreds a year on methods that only remove the hair when you can turn it off for good? For less than the price of a nice dinner, improve that with something else. I know the winning ad had that, but my recommendation is option A. For less than a single waxing appointment, is specific, problem aware, and makes the viewer do the math in the head. I pay $50 for a wax that lasts 2 weeks, or I could pay... Over 50,000 women have already ditched this plucking routine. Yeah, that's much better. I mean, pretty much everyone has, especially if they're struggling with this issue, has probably had a waxing appointment before. So let's lock that in and move to the next beat. Click the link below to see if Cyberglow is still in stock and start your journey. Start your journey to smoother hair-free skin is generic benefit language. Compare the winning ad says younger looking skin, one clear outcome. Our stacks 2 smoother plus hair-free, which dilutes, but more importantly, both versions are surface level. We just spent beat 12 painting a vivid transformation through behaviors, flinching, daily lighting. Yeah, exactly. Click the link below to see if Cyberglow is still in stock. Click the link below to see if Serenit is still in stock. Okay, that's the same. And finally, stop planning your life around your facial hair. Every single order comes with a full 365-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing a 365 money-back guarantee, but let's take this. Let's lock this in. Right, let's have a little read of this through. Write me the full completed script in text with line breaks, not in a document. Okay, so what I would have been doing through that process, I've just not done it in this video because my other monitor's got recording software up, is I would have like a Google Doc, you know, just like this, or a Notion. And as I go through each beat, like we use Notion for like putting all of our concepts and writing our scripts in. So I would be having like my Notion concept document up, and I'd be like just copying and pasting the final beat into this. So then I get everything completed within my Notion. But there's a slight issue here. So this is it. So what's the fastest to fix stubborn facial hair? Laser. And that kind of works because then we go into nope, laser costs over $1,000 for a full round of sessions. But then waxing a laser. Okay, so bear with me here. Some of the hook variations don't tie in properly to the script body. Analyze this. And we're going to do a hook optimization prompt in just a second. Okay, perfect. So all we had to do there was just adjust this so they all end with laser, because you can see as we start to get into our lead, you know, we're referencing laser. We're disqualifying laser first in our first sentence. So that's fine. So let's come over here and we're going to go into our prompt 3 hook optimization. So now we need to refine the hooks and make each one a 10 out of 10 output. So now we're going to pretty much do what we've done with the beat by beat. Oh no, we've done this. My apologies. Now we have done that, but I want to just do a bit of a manual adjustment. So let me have a look. What's the fastest fix for stubborn facial hair? Laser. So remember, these are actually perfect, because then hook 2 is what's the fastest fix for facial hair that keeps coming back. Laser, question mark. What's fast? Because remember on this, we're going to have this in a TikTok reply comment. Perfect. Like this. So the hooks on this concept are actually really simple. So we'll lock them in. And now what we're going to do is our final optimization. So we are going to okay, let's lock that in. Now write me all of the hook variations with the final rest of the script. Give me it in text, not a document. Okay, so all of this, I mean, it's taken us a while to do, but let's actually just really quickly go through this. So we'll go through it once we've done this, because I'm going to line break everything so it's easy to scan. Right, so production and readiness analysis, overall rating 8.5 out of 10. Now, the thing is, what will happen when you do this prompt is it's very, very rarely, pretty much never a 10 out of 10, but sometimes it will correct part of the scripts, but the corrections actually take out some good parts and make it sound too much like AI. Like it starts to get too specific on like the copywriting and almost taking out some of that human element that I've been working on. But I'll read through this. I'll just have a quick glance on this one, but obviously real case scenario, you know, you'd probably read through this and make any adjustments, but let's just look at beat 1. So 10 out of 10, beat 2, 10 out of 10, beat 3, 10 out of 10, beat 4, 10 out of 10, beat 5, 9 out of 10. Okay, that's fine. Mechanism name, 9 out of 10. This is the method. The logical chain is clear. It follows the treatment works as a membrane category name. One minor concern, this method uses the natural plant compound to interrupt the signal directly at the root. At the root could be read literal hair root. See, it doesn't matter. Like at the root is perfect. Don't need to change that. Beat 7, 10, 10. Beat 8, 10, 10. Beat 9, 9, 10. Emotional rescue is clean. Origin and credibility tag works. Mechanism callback is seamless. One concern, the sentence ends with follicular signal treatment, and beat 10 opens with their follicular signal treatment. The name appears back to back across the beat transition. When read out loud, it slightly is repetitive. Not a deal breaker because it serves as, so remember we worked on that and the original script was good doing that as well, so we'll leave that. Support mechanism, I will read this out loud though at the end, and then I will maybe make a few other minor adjustments if needed. Support mechanism plus usage. The follicular signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cypress rotundus, rating 8 out of 10. This is the longest beat in the script and carries the most information. The support mechanism logic is airtight, industry flaw, delivery difference, Jujaba carrier, callback to growth. Two concerns. First, this beat is doing the work of what would normally be 2 beats in a shorter ad. It's necessary for the level 4 market, but when read aloud, it runs approximately 35 seconds, which is significantly longer than any other beat. That's fine because remember, in comparison to the original one that we were modeling, we had to make some adjustments just based on how their structure flowed with their product and mechanism. Authority, beat number 11, 10, 10, 12, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 9, 10. One minor note, so you have nothing to lose as a common CTA. Nah, perfect. I know from feedback loops on mine that this is absolutely fine. Okay, perfect. So we are pretty much good to go. Now, the only other thing that I like to do is just do line breaks for myself just to see how this would actually look. And then also with this downloaded video, I'm putting that in as the reference video. So they can actually look at this ad, look at the winning ads, and then it gives them a reference point to start their work on. Okay, perfect. Let's read through this. So, what is the fastest fix for stubborn facial hair? Laser, TikTok comment reply. Nope. Laser costs over $1,000 for a full round of sessions. And for most women, the hair just grows right back. What about shaving or waxing? Nope. By now, everyone knows these only remove the hair. They don't touch why your body keeps producing it. So what actually works? There's one simple thing any woman between 20 and 75 can do to dramatically reduce unwanted hair on the chin, upper lip, jawline, and even the neck. It only takes 2 minutes, can be easily done at home, and you'll notice a difference within the first week. This is a method called follicular signal treatment. I'll probably change that to like follicle signal treatment. Instead of removing hair from the surface, it works at the follicle level, where hair growth actually starts. There's a hormonal signal that tells your follicles to keep producing thicker, darker hair. This method uses a natural plant compound to interrupt that signal directly at the root. So each time hair grows back, it comes back finer, softer, and slower. Unlike chemical removal creams, at-home IPL devices, or even prescription creams like Vanica, none of those interrupt the signal at the follicle. No lasting effect on the actual growth. The big problem with follicle signal treatments is that a full course of professional treatment typically costs anywhere from $500 to over $1,000. But the good news is that a US-based company called Cyproglow has now made this treatment accessible to everyone at a fraction of the cost with their clinically backed follicle signal treatment. Their follicle signal treatment uses a concentrated dose of Cyperus rotundus, a natural botanical that targets hair growth directly at the follicle. But here's what makes Cyproglow different from anything else on the market. Most oils with this ingredient just sit on top of your skin and never reach the follicle. Without the right carrier oil, the active compounds evaporate on the surface before they can get to where they need to go. Cyproglow uses a jojoba-based carrier that mimics your skin's natural oil, so the active compounds are actually transported down into the follicle where the growth signals live. Once there, it goes to work interrupting that nasty signal that tells your follicles to keep producing thicker, darker hair. All you do is apply a few drops to clean skin and massage it in, morning and evening, and the serum does the rest. It's 100% painless, causes no irritation, and it's incredibly simple to use. That's why it's recommended by hundreds of dermatologists across the USA. And now you can get clinical grade results from the comfort of your own home without any risk of side effects or spending a fortune. Within the first week, you will notice the regrowth feels softer and less prickly. But the real magic happens over the coming weeks. By week 2, you start spacing out your plucking sessions. No more setting your alarm early just to tweeze before anyone wakes up. No more setting your alarm early. No need for that just there. This is why it's good to read it out. No more setting your alarm early to tweeze before anyone wakes up. No more carrying tweezers in every bag you own. No more dreading bright light because you're scared someone will notice. And by month 1, previous thick, coarse hair starts coming back so fine it's not even noticeable. For the first time, you stop flinching when someone gets close to your face. You're not removing hair anymore. You're turning it off for good. Over 50,000 women have already ditched their daily plucking routine for Cyproglow. Why keep spending hundreds a year on methods that only remove the hair when you can turn it off for good for less? I don't like this, how it says you're turning off for good. Within these sentences that are close together, we mention you're turning it off for good twice. Adjust the second sentence here. Okay, that's good. Stop it at the source. Rewrite when you can finally stop it at the source. Okay, why keep spending hundreds a year on methods that only remove the hair where you can finally stop it at the source for less than a single waxing appointment? Click the link below to see if Cyproglow is still in stock, and finally stop planning your life around your facial hair. Every single order comes with a full 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. End with a positive. Okay, boys, so that is pretty much the full process. Now, the other thing that you can do here, as I mentioned in the other video, I didn't take this, I put it into Hemingway. Just make sure that it's a good readability level, but I mean, just reading that, I definitely know that it is. And you can see there that obviously this one took a little bit longer because this is a relatively long ad. I mean, bearing in mind that this is 226 and we've added in quite a bit more because we've changed the structure. So we're probably looking at about a 2-minute 50-ish ad. So I mean, this is in like VSL, mini VSL territory here. So these are going to take a little bit longer, and you can just see how I'm pretty picky when it comes to working through each section. So you can literally use this exact workflow for any type of ad. Like if you want to go for like a 30-second ad that you're going to recreate, you can literally do that. It's not going to take you long at all. But for longer scripts, it'll kind of take you a similar time to as that's took me. So let's do like a little bit of a summary here. So first of all, everything starts with research. You'll see throughout that whole video, the amount of times that we were referencing the project files. I mean, it was a lot, and it really helps out a ton. And also that research is also ingrained into my mind as well, because I manually went through a lot of it. So I was able to change out a lot of bits just based off the research that I can still remember. So everything starts from your research, and that's going to help you through a lot of this. Now, once you have everything in place in Claude, as we did, then obviously to find the concepts that you want to reverse engineer, you have Ad Library, you can search by impressions, you have Ad Spy, you can look at top ads through engagement, and then you can also use Atreya as well to kind of monitor brands, and you can still recreate some of their most recent ads if you genuinely just fuck with the ad and you watch that ad and you're like, okay, this is an actual good ad, still go ahead and test it and recreate it. 100% recommend that. And then obviously you have things like TikTok as well, where you can find concept ideas from. So that's how you're going to find your concepts. Then obviously download the video, you get the transcript of Gemini, and then you're going to be working through this prompt workflow. So getting the first draft of Claude references all of your project files. It does about, let's say, 60% of the work, maybe 70% of the work. And then we really get into the deep of it by going through that beat by beat optimization. So lock in the concept idea, identifies the structure, rewrites the structure. Then we go into the hook optimization first. Then we go into the beat by beat optimization in the main script, the main body. Then we go into our final optimization as well. And obviously between that as well, you can see that I was doing a lot of back and forth with the AI as well. And also just like having good copywriting skills, I was also just changing a few words, adding a few words in there as well, which some of you guys will already have. For others, that will just come with more and more practice. So honestly, that is pretty much all you need. I mean, you don't have to, there's a lot that goes into it, don't get me wrong. But honestly, you can get to crazy amounts of revenue by just reverse engineering winning concepts and going through that complete workflow that I've just taken you guys through. Now, what I will do is this final script, at some part within the Discord or WAP, I'm actually going to get my team to actually put that into a creative for you. So you can actually see what the final output would look like. But yeah, let's knock this one on its head. This has been a super long lesson, a bunch of information in it as well, and just go and execute on it. This will be linked below this video. And this is going to make you guys, guaranteed, this is going to make you guys a fuck ton of winning ads if you go ahead and execute on it. Don't share it anywhere else outside the Discord. Let's keep it to ourselves. And yeah, hope you guys find value. It's been a long one, and I'll see you in the next one.